Y'all, I thought I was so freaking tough until I found myself sprawled in the dirt, dizzy, dehydrated, desperately hoping for a hitch. Yeah, a hitchhike. Turns out, ignoring water planning and pushing too many miles in the heat on my PCT through hike wasn't a great idea. But at least the ride that saved me from the desert came with an emotional support dog. Hey y'all, I'm Jeffrey. Welcome back to Trail Boss, a semi-helpful guide to conquering your backpacking fears. In this 9-part series, I am tackling the biggest fears keeping y'all from tackling the trail so that you can get outside with confidence. I polled my audience of 250,000 plus outdoor adventurers, and in order, these were the top things they said were keeping them from going on their first backpacking trip. But don't worry, today we're covering everything from finding clean water sources to avoiding dreaded Giardia. But before we dive in, grab my free ebook, Trail Boss, a semi-helpful guide to conquering your backpacking fears. It's in the bio or in the description below, or you can also click the link in one of the corners. And if you want to just come hike with me in real life and avoid all these headaches altogether, check out my group trips. I host group trips all over the world. So if you want more adventure, come have it with me. Okay. Let's talk hydration. Water! Okay, not all water is created equal. Some of it is pristine and fresh, straight from a high alpine spring, and some of it, well, it's stagnant and has cow footprints around it, and you should probably consider your water choices, maybe even your life choices. Here are reasons to be really mindful of water safety. Stagnant water is more likely to be contaminated, and there's lots of it on trails. Heavy livestock or wildlife presence can also introduce bacteria or parasites. Additionally, low flow sources, same with stagnant water, are often concentrated with the stuff that you don't want to drink. And this isn't always possible, but always check for dead animals, especially like upstream. I mean, you can only visually check a small area and there's no way to know what's upstream. But I mean, if you see a dead animal immediately, I once met a hiker who filled up from what looked like a pristine stream only to discover a very, very dead, very bloated deer, literally just a few feet upstream, like half in the water. So let's just say, I don't know how his next few days went, but they may not have been fun. A quick scan can save you a whole lot of regret. And if you don't, congrats. You're drinking nature soup, whatever that might contain. I once learned firsthand what happens when you don't plan your water well. It's easy to assume that you'll just kind of figure it out on the go, but trust me, that is a recipe for trouble, especially in the heat. Now, it was a brutally hot stretch, and I figured I could just kind of push through without stopping to drink. Genius move, right? I'll wake it up at night. But by mid-afternoon, I was dizzy. My mouth felt like sandpaper. And I stopped to get a drink, and I just had no energy. I was wiped. I had no energy whatsoever. I mean, every step felt like dragging a cement block. I ended up taking a really overdramatic, awkward afternoon siesta in some shade, and I was able to get myself moving a little bit more. But, oh my gosh, when I finally hit my first road crossing, I didn't even have the energy to stick a thumb out, which wouldn't have done me any good anyway, because I was in the middle of nowhere. There were no cars passing through. But I was able to end up finding someone in the Far Out app, and I sent them text messages seeing if they were a trail angel who had listed themselves in the Far Out app at this stop, saying they were available to give other rides, not rides to this place, but rides in the area that were common. There's people trying to get to a town from a trailhead. And I found them, and I started sending them messages from my satellite device, my Garmin InReach Mini 2. And they came to pick me up. They weren't even sure they could get there. They weren't sure they could get there because it was either BLM or forestry land, and sometimes those roads are gated, and those gates are only open seasonally. But they were able to get there. We're gonna get into those details more, but all that to say, you've got to respect the water game. While you have to respect the water situation, at the same time, if it's something that you're have an outsized fear of, don't. Because with proper planning, dehydration is completely avoidable. Water sources, at least in the US, are very well documented on trail maps, especially the long distance trails, the Far Out app. People, you'll see a water source listed, but then people are also in real time leaving live updates. Like, yes, it still has water. No, this is dry. You can see like, oh, they were there 2 days ago. So there is likely still water there today. So that's another reason not to be too concerned about it. And the thing is, even dry sections have solutions. Unless you are in a place that nobody ever hikes, there's probably there might be a water cache ahead, a way that you can carry more, or you might be able to cache food or water in advance in spots. All that to say, there's almost always a solution. You could change your hiking schedule to hike cooler hours so that you don't need as much water. There's lots of things you can do. So all that to say, respect water, but don't let the fear of it keep you from going outside. There's lots of water treatment options and products. This is just a top level video, so we're not going to get too deep into that, but let's talk a little bit about how to turn questionable water into something that is drinkable. Because while raw water sounds trendy, Giardia is not.
Hello! Hey, if you are sitting there thinking, oh, I want to travel more, I want to go on more adventures, come with me. I host trips around the world. We've been hiking in Patagonia, we went looking for the Northern Lights in Iceland, trekking in Nepal, camping in Banff, Canada, in the Canadian Rockies. We do it all, and we have a real good time. Everyone's welcome, and all the details for any current trips, just click that little bubble up in the top corner, or go to my website, jjb.life/travel. And we almost always make at least one group cringy TikTok. So come hang out with us. We're a real good time.
There's two main types of filtration. There is physical filtration and chemical filtration. Physical filtration removes sediment, bacteria, and protozoa. It's great for clear water sources. Chemical treatment kills bacteria, viruses, some parasites, and it is good with like completely unknown contamination. Now, there's a lot of ways to filter your water on trail, at least on a thru hike in 2024. The two most popular, by far, number one is the Sawyer Squeeze. There's the Mini, there's different ones. Those were number one. I've never been on the Sawyer train. They seem okay, but they've got the weird bags, which you don't have to use. But I don't know. I have always been a Katadyn boy. I use a Katadyn Be-Free. I don't know. That's just what I've used, and I am a big fan and will continue to use it. It's great. I really like it. So anyway, that is what I've used. But then you can also use things like Aquamira drops. That is a chemical treatment. Both of those other two options were physical filters. Aquamira is a chemical treatment. And there are times when you might want to use both. Also, boiling, it's reliable, but it's slow. I'm going to use fuel, which if you're cold soaking, you don't even have that. And then there's UV sterilizers, the little wand thingies, and those are fast and effective, but they take batteries. So those aren't always practical for a trip that's more than a few days or a week. Now, when do you use which? Again, this is a top level video, but in general, if you're in a fast moving stream, just physical filtration is usually enough. Now, if you're in a sketchy cow pond with like some brownish weird colored water, then I would combine physical filtration with a chemical treatment. Additionally, if you... Disclaimer, I'm never, ever telling you to not filter your water. Okay, I'm not giving you that advice, just to be clear. That being said, there are factors that increase the likelihood that the water contains something that you don't want to put in your body. Water at super high altitudes is often safer because there's usually not livestock up there. There's also usually not human activity, so human waste, whether that be fecal waste or chemical waste. In general, that water up there is in general safe-ish. As you move down in elevation, what that means is the water has more opportunity to come into contact with dead animals, with dead protozoa, bacteria, viruses, dead animals, human urine. The lower down, the more there is livestock in the area, the more there's human activity in the area, the more likely that water is to be unsafe. So again, I'm not saying to not filter your water when you're at altitude. And it's not just altitude. There's so many factors. I maybe should just cut this. I'm not telling you not to filter your water. What I am saying is there are multiple things that contribute to the likely safety of the water. And so I have foregone filtering in select situations. I'm going to stop talking. I think you know what I'm saying, right? Filter your water. Filter your water. If you are in a sticky spot and you're in a... No, I'm going to stop talking. Next up, Giardia. Giardia is the boogeyman of the outdoor world. But the thing is, it is not the only thing lurking in untreated water. Cryptosporidium and E. coli, those can also crash your entire adventure in ways that you're not going to soon forget. I mean, the thing is, it won't kill you, Giardia, but it will make you wish you were dead. Here's the thing. If you get Giardia, your hike is over. That's the fact. You're going to be really sick temporarily. You're going to have a really sick stomach. You're probably going to have diarrhea. You might be vomiting. But with treatment and rest, you're going to be completely fine and you're going to get back on trail. It's not typically a life-threatening thru-hike ending illness, but it is something to respect. I'm not saying to treat it casually or not to respect it. But the thing is, there's also the myth that like every unfiltered water source has Giardia or has something else. But the thing is, there's plenty of perfectly safe drinking water in nature. But the thing is, you never know. There is no way to know. So why risk it? Now, symptoms of Giardia or other related waterborne similar illnesses are intense stomach cramps, diarrhea. Like, we're talking like cancel all your plans level diarrhea, not like, ooh, my stomach's a little silly, like you got diarrhea. Fatigue, dehydration, and it's easy to avoid. Treat your water. That's the easiest way. But also your hands, norovirus as well. Norovirus, I'm not a norovirus expert, so just know that I'm giving you this as best I can, the information I have. As I understand it, norovirus is really commonly transferred through fecal matter. And it's really pervasive, especially on long distance trails, because we tend to... we're pooping in the woods and we're not clean. We're not clean and we got shit on our hands. That's what I'm trying to say. And I don't know how to say it in a better way. One tactic, a lot of thru-hikers, most thru-hikers, every thru-hiker should, it's ideal to use one hand for bathroom stuff and another hand for eating. That can be a big help. But on these trails, you end up with these spots where, like a water cache, where almost every hiker is coming through and touching all the same bottles. And we're not clean. So treat your water, wash your hands, especially after you use the bathroom. Always have sanitizing stuff with you, even if it's something that you don't use in your regular life for legitimate reasons. This is not that place. There's so much annoying disease can be spread on trails from people not being clean. And the other thing is just don't let your dirty water filter touch your clean water. So just be cognizant that, if you're adding clean water to some dirty water, it's not clean anymore. All right, so there you have it. Water logistics demystified. With the right water treatment and some basic knowledge, staying hydrated on the trail, it's so easy. It's way easier than it seems. Okay, if you're loving this series and you want more tips on conquering your backpacking fears, check out the entire playlist. It's called Trail Boss. The link's in the corner or in the description below. And don't forget, there's also a corresponding ebook called Trail Boss, a semi-helpful guide for conquering your outdoor fears. It's got all of this information as well as information from the other videos in the series and some more stuff that's not even here. And if you want to skip the headache of planning water resupplies and logistics altogether, just come on one of my group trips. We handle all the planning and all the logistics. You just show up. All right, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I'm going to see you in the next episode where we're going to tackle wildlife fears, bears, snakes, and other critters that will not kill you. Okay, until then, happy trails. Want to watch another video? Click here. Want to learn more about my upcoming trips? Click here. Want to subscribe and like all my videos and turn those bell notifications on?